photography or lighting or high production value, I would just sit in a room with my camera on auto, and I would use the room lights, just the normal standard light. That would be my lighting. I have learned so much about how to have high, nice production value, and I want to share all of that with you. Video look better. I don't recommend that your source of light are the bulbs in your ceiling. I'm going to show you a much better way of making your videos look nice and how to light them nice right now. So let's actually turn off the lights in here and build the shot from the ground up. Okay. The light that you see in the picture right now is coming from my laptop screen. We're going to start adding real professional lights to make this look even nicer. And a reminder, this camera is still on auto. I have a key light and a fill light right here. A key light is going to be the light that's more the main light, that is your direct source of light that you want to put directly in front of your subject, or maybe off to the center a little bit, but it's going to be where the majority, the good solid source of light that lights up most of your subject. I'm actually going to start with the fill light. That's the light that comes from the side or maybe from the back to create more definition in your subject. So what I'm going to do right now is turn on light number 1, my fill light. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. I see that auto is trying to kind of adjust to it. I'm looking in my monitor right now. First of all, it's way too bright. That's just simply too bright of a light, and it doesn't really look all that good yet. However, let's add another light, and then I'm going to explain what these lights are. Okay. As you can see, it looks a lot better than the lights coming from my ceiling, the standard bulbs coming from my ceiling. We still have a lot of room for improvement. But real quick, I want to talk about the lights that I'm using. These are Godox VL150 LED lights. They're about $700 a piece. You don't need to spend that much money on LED lights if you want a nicer picture to your videos. You just don't. It's unnecessary. There are other applications you can use these lights for. They're actually both. I think both of these are on 1%, meaning there's 99% more power that I can give to these lights to make them look even brighter. Like, look at this. This is 13%. Look how, that's way too much light. For a little studio room like this, I don't need this much light. I'm going to take it back down to 1%. So we're at 1% on both of these, and I'm actually going to use my iPhone to show you the type of lighting that I'm using. So here's the other view of these. That's my key light. That's my fill light. That's my camera. That's my monitor. Hello. Both of these lights are double diffused in a softbox. I like the kind of soft light look when I'm making YouTube videos. I just want a more consistent light. That's the power supply right there. So both of these are in a softbox. I'll give you a better angle of it. That's what that looks like. So it's a light coming from a softbox, and it gives a nice full light. By the way, this camera is a Sony A7S II. It's a couple $1,000. You don't even need a camera this nice, especially if you don't know how to use one. If you don't know the pillars of photography and cinematography, ISO, aperture, shutter speed, white balance, if you don't know how to use those and incorporate those, you really probably shouldn't even use a camera like this. There's much nicer ones that's not the nicest, but it is a decent enough camera for a good professional look. The Sony A7S II is the camera I'm using, but you could use an iPhone, and in fact, I'm going to use an iPhone in a second just to show you. On auto, which we're going to fix in a second. But first, what if we add a light that has a different temperature? Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Still not perfect yet. Has kind of an ugly picture, which we're going to fix in a second. But I like the contrasting temperatures. These two main lights are kind of bluish looking LED lights that are lighting me up and kind of lighting the rest of the room up. But then this gives a nice contrasting temperature. And this is just a practical lamp. You can use practical lamps. It's a nice warm, light temperature too. Let's add this one to light up the merchandise behind me. Okay, we're working with something now. As you can see, this is my backdrop, my merch, but still, I don't like the way I look all blue, and I want to add more of a depth of field look. So what do? Instead of shooting on auto, which is what a lot of people do, I'm going to shoot on manual, and I'm going to make the picture look better manually. Okay, now, that is starting to look a lot better. I switched over to manual and I changed the white balance to match up with the lights that I'm using, which is about 5,500 Kelvin, so the white balance is dialed in. I'm at ISO 850, shutter speed 1/80th of a second, which is a really good shutter speed for video. That's pretty much standard. I'm at f8 right now. The thing with aperture is the lower that you stop down on the aperture, the more that it's going to blur everything out behind you. So we can actually do this right now. I'm going to bring the aperture and open it all the way up. Now that's all the way. Now the problem with this is it's going to make it look real crisp on my face and blur everything out behind me. The way aperture works, if you've ever seen an eyeball dilate open, that's allowing more light to come in. As more light comes in, it's going to create what's called a depth of field, which means the things behind me are going to be more and more blurred out the lower that you go. I don't want it to be crazy blurred out, so I'm going to... Okay, now...
As long as I can observe it die. You must understand, dying is a true dance.
Introducing your champion.
Oh wow. Okay.